Let's go. Here's a story of federal programs taking care of our students' needs, working hard to secure the funding, because we're going to please. We have programs to encompass the school board's mission to achieve. So let's all together. We look forward to see you succeed.
Good afternoon. My name is Wanda Wilkinson. I'm a coordinator at Federal Programs, and I support the Audit Box process at the school level, and I also help parent-family engagement. I'm going to be presenting a PowerPoint today on the revised school level Audit Box documentation needed for 2021. The Audit Box has been revised by removing any item we can obtain from another source. For instance, schools in the past, student data was gathered at the school level and added to the Audit Box. But we can actually get that data from another source, so that's been removed. So there's a little fewer things that you have to add to your Audit Box this year. What remains is documentation required by public law through ESSA that can only be found or generated at the school level. So you can't get these documents anywhere else. They have to come directly from you, and they are required. I thank you for the efforts you take to keep your school in compliance and prepare to respond to the state's auditor's request when they inevitably occur. Before we begin the PowerPoint going over and reviewing the Audit Box, I'm going to show you how to actually reach your Audit Box. So it's stored in Drive, in a folder in Drive, and I've shared that with you through an email. But it's always better to know the name of the file and how to access it, so you don't have to hunt that email every time you want to get in. So if you go to Google and you go to Drive, open your Drive, and then if you just go into Search Drive, the way I've set up every Audit Box is the name of the school with a dash and then 2021 Audit Box. So if I wanted to find Mosley's Audit Box, I just type in M-O-S-E elementary, and then dash 2021 Audit Box, and hit enter, and it plops up right here. So now I have access to it, so I can open it, and there you see your Audit Box. There's all the folders we're going to review today, and then at the bottom here is the checklist. And if you open the checklist, if you want to have this checklist open while we review the PowerPoint, I'm going through each of these folders and each of these documents that you see written in each of the folder. You'll see examples and we'll discuss them. Okay. If you want to save this for easy access, if you go back to your main folder name and you click on it, it opens up a menu, and you can either click it to add a shortcut to Drive. We'll take it to your Drive so that you can find it. Or if you want to add it to your starred list, which is another way to quickly access folders, you can hit starred, and it'll pop over in your Drive, and you'll have it when you hit your starred. It'll be in this list where your starred folders are shared. There it is right there. Okay. All right, so that's a good way to access your Audit Box folder easily, and the checklist. So if you like to open it now, I've sent an invitation through an email also, but so you have access to it. And you can open the checklist and go follow with me through the PowerPoint if you would like. Okay, so thank you much. During the past couple of years, at various conferences and meetings, the state reiterated the phrase "moving forward" so often it became a buzzword at Federal Programs. I think the state was impressing upon us that this is where we've been and this is where we are going moving forward. Although sometimes we may not be excited about the changes moving forward bring, this quote expands the concept to remind us we can be successful moving forward together. Today's agenda, the first thing we'll look at is our Title I Part A audit box. We've redesigned it just a little bit, taking out all the documentation that we could possibly find in other sources so that it now only contains documentation that only schools can provide. So there's less that you have to actually add to your audit box. Then we're going to look at school inventory. You now have an inventory person at your school and an inventory sheet so that we can better track inventory at the school level. We're going to look at procedures for spending funds. It's actually a review of something that we've talked about before with a little extra information added. Then we'll look at a project praise protocol we're going to put in place for students when they're identified as homeless. It's just a little bit different the way we're going to do it this year. And then we'll start a collaboration with all our other grants, with you meeting the staff, and they're going to share with you services that their projects provide. All right, if you have your Title I audit box checklist with you, you see that this is the first folder. It's also the first folder that can be found in the audit box in Drive. It's titled Teacher Paraprofessional Information. The reason that we have this is this is required of us because at the beginning of each school year, the LEA shall notify parents that they may request, and the agency will provide in a timely manner, information regarding the professional qualifications of the students' classroom teachers and the qualifications of paraprofessionals providing services to their school. So that's what we are trying to document. So in this folder, you're going to find, you'll need to add your paraprofessional schedules. This is an example of what it looks like. You need your paraprofessional schedules along with the teacher who is that they're working under. And so that can be, and if you look at this checklist, I have September there when it's due. When I say due, I don't exactly mean that, you're going to get in trouble if it's not there. It's just when you can look for it to be available, you should have that done in September sometime. So it can go ahead and be added to your audit box. Second thing you'll see is a copy of each 4-week letter. And this is a sample from Brown and Pierce of what a 4-week letter looks like. And what a 4-week letter does is if a substitute is going to be teaching your student, or a teacher that's teaching your student that does not meet the qualifications of the state, you're required to send this letter home after 4 weeks of being in the classroom. That the teachers, the parents have to be notified of that, and that you need documentation of that. And if you look, it says it's due in September because you'll know at the beginning of the year which of your teachers are certified and which aren't. But as you hire new staff, if you hire a teacher that's not highly qualified or certified in the area she's teaching, then you'll need to send this letter home. So it's kind of an ongoing process for the audit box. The teacher para certification information letters, they look like this. They go home at the beginning of the year, and this satisfies the requirement that we give parents information on how they can find the certification of the teachers that their child are being taught by. So in this, you just kind of need to verify that it was sent home, and I created this signed principal attestation that will do that for us. If you look at this, it just tells you that this principal is saying that this teacher parent certification information letters were sent home, how they were sent home, and that all pairs are highly qualified. So that's another document that needs to be in this folder. The second folder of the audit box is titled Comprehensive Needs Assessment, and this is why we're doing this. This is why you have to document it. Determining strength and needs is essential to planning and improvement cycles at both the district and campus levels. Mandated in various federal legislation and state statutes, the comprehensive needs assessment process is often viewed as the initiation of the cycle. Several of our grants require a comprehensive needs assessment or some process to determine needs. So this document actually fulfills the requirement in more than just Title I. And you'll need a copy of it in your audit box. And this is what it looks like. It has to be documented that there's been input from stakeholders, Documentation is seen. This is what the state requires as documentation. You need to have an agenda, a sign-in sheet, and minutes of some meeting that you have had that we've discussed the comprehensive needs assessment. What I suggest is when you do your school-wide plan review meeting, that would be a logical time to talk about the comprehensive needs assessment. As long as it's bulleted there that you did discuss it, and it reflects in your minutes that it was a discussion, that stakeholders had an opportunity to look at this document and have input into this document, then you've covered your requirement for compliance. If you look at the little agenda on the side, I put location virtually online because it probably, more than likely, that's how kind of we'll be doing things in the future until things change. So that's going to be accepted. And if you record your Zoom or Hangout or however you do your meetings, if you do a recording, all those pieces can be documented in that recording. So it makes it pretty easy. The definition of stakeholders for this document is this. Stakeholders for the comprehensive needs assessment is the same for your school-wide plan. It's parents, community members, teachers, principals, administrators, school staff, and for secondary schools, students are included as stakeholders. You must document that parents and the public have easy access to this document. So the state has said that if we'll post things on our school and district websites, and that takes care of that compliance issue. So you're on your screen of your new school website, this is kind of the menu that is, and there's an accountability button over. So if you'll just add your CNA, a copy of your CNA into your website so that parents have access to that, that would be considered a good way to document compliance. You also want to add to this your survey results. So you had your 5 essential survey that you took at the end of this of our last school year. And you have our parent and family engagement Title I or federal program survey also. If you could put your results of that in here, that documents that that information was considered in your comprehensive needs assessment. Okay, Order 3 is our school-wide plan with evidence of stakeholder input. If you are a Title I schools, which we all are, you're required to have a school-wide plan. And most of us use the school improvement plan as our school-wide plan, and it's been modified to be acceptable to the state for that. So that's good. So that's what I'm talking about here, your school improvement plan. The reason we have to do this is a school participating in a school-wide program shall develop with the involvement of stakeholders a plan based on a comprehensive needs assessment of the entire school that addresses the needs of all children in the school, but particularly the needs of those at risk of not meeting the challenging state standards, and shall be made available to the LEA, parents, and the public. You add a copy of your school-wide plan, which more than likely will look like this. You have a version in English, and auditors have asked us to also make that available in Spanish to our parents, as that's a major other second language that the majority of people in Putnam County speak. We were asked to do that, so you have that in there, both English and Spanish. Then you also have to have proof that you had input by your stakeholders. Once again, it needs to be some kind of a agenda, sign-in sheet, minutes of a meeting where parents have had the opportunity, or stakeholders have had the opportunity to provide input. And as with the CNA, stakeholders are parents, community members, teachers, principals, administrators, school staff, and for secondary students are included as stakeholders. You should also upload copies of the school-wide plan to your school-wide website. Under accountability, you will put your school-wide plan. Okay, the fourth folder within the audit box is the parent family engagement plan with evidence of stakeholder input. The parent family engagement plan folders have been released, so you have access to update those now, and I'm available at any time to support you with that. We have to do parent family engagement because a school receiving funds under this part shall jointly develop with and distribute to parents and family members a plan agreed upon by such parents that shall describe the means of carrying out the requirements of this part. The plan shall be made available in an understandable and uniform format, and to the extent practicable, in a language the parents can understand. Oh, no. Schools must document that parents had input into the use of parent family engagement funds. Parents must be provided a means to submit comments to the LEA if they feel the plan is not satisfactory. So in that folder, you will definitely have a copy of your 2020 Parent Family Engagement Plan, both in English and in Spanish. Your document of input by stakeholders is, once again, this is a documentation that the state requires us to do, a meeting, and once again, it probably will be virtually or online, and I've given you a little outline of what that might look like. Your stakeholders for the Parent Family Engagement Plan are the parents and family members of participating children, so it's the parents and family members of the children in your school. You can distribute this through means of your school website. So it'll have your parent family engagement plan there in both English and Spanish. And also you're going to add how to submit comments to the LEA if a parent does not feel that the plan is satisfactory. I will write up and send out a little blurb for you to upload into your website on how parents can get that information to us. Folder 5, School Parent Contact with Evidence of Stakeholder Input. We have to do contact and update it yearly because each school served under this part shall jointly develop with parents a school parent compact that outlines how parents, the entire school, staff, and students will share responsibility for improved student academic achievement and the means by which the school and parents will build and develop a partnership to help children achieve the state's high standards. This is a copy of the compact will be in your audit box. This is a good example. This is Middleton Bernie's. They have English on one side and Spanish on the other, so they've met the language of the home language requirement on one document. Then documentation of stakeholder input is also a meeting where this school parent compact is on the agenda. It doesn't have to be a separate meeting. When you get together with your parents to discuss your school-wide plan, if you document that you also talk about the compact, then that's documentation. You just need a bullet stating that and then something in the minutes where you did discuss that. The stakeholders are, just as with the Parent Family Engagement Plan, they're parents and family members of participating children at your school. You can document this through your school website screenshot under the accountability portion. This is for all elementary schools. This is very important. You have to have documentation that the compact was discussed in the parent-teacher conference at the elementary level. So you need to have some form of I don't know if your teachers use like an agenda or how exactly they document what they discuss in parent conferences, but it does need to be some kind of like that, probably an agenda where you have spoken about the compact, and then a sign-in sheet that would be good documentation that you went over the parent the compact with parents, and you use the parent with an individual student. And to that effect, I've also added a signed principal attestation that says that very thing, that the school compact was jointly developed with parents, that it was delivered to parents or distributed to parents, and then I've left blanks there for you to fill that in. However you get this information to your parents, you need to write it in. If it's backpacked home, if it's mail, or if you talk about it during registration, that needs to go there. And then also, if you're an elementary principal, you need to verify that these compact was discussed during parent-teacher conferences. Right, folder 6, annual Title I meeting. This is a requirement of federal, if you receive federal Title I funds, and this is what we have to do. Each school served under this part shall convene an annual meeting at a convenient time to which all parents of participating children shall be invited and encouraged to attend, to inform parents of their school's participation under this part and to explain the requirements of this part and the right of the parents to be involved. Once again, this has to be a standalone meeting. So any invitations or reminders or agendas, anything you send out, please don't put anything on it but annual Title I meeting. Don't put open house on it anywhere. I mean, it's okay. I mean, we know that we generally do our annual Title I meeting during that night that we do open house, but don't please have a separate agenda, separate sign-in sheet for that meeting for documentation. Okay, evidence that your parents were invited and encouraged to attend. It could be a flyer home, like the one that CeeLo used, but also any other means that you reach out to your parents. If you have a Facebook page or Twitter or whatever, however, or call outs, however you do that, the more documentation, the better. So please add all that documentation to your audit box. All right, evidence of your annual Title I meeting. All right, the evidence that you're going to put in there is probably a good strong evidence is your PowerPoint that most schools are using to be sure that they've covered everything that they should be required to cover under in a Title I meeting. The PowerPoint, that template that we gave to schools did contain that information. So if you've made that your own, please add that to your audit box. Your Title I meeting agenda, your Title I meeting sign-in, and your Title I meeting minutes stand alone for that meeting. All that documentation, be sure it says that nothing else was happening that night, but everybody just came to their Title I meeting. That could be there. And then many schools are taking surveys at the end of the Title I meeting to get some information for their parents. That's a really good strategy to use to get feedback from parents. And another good source of distribution would be to put that PowerPoint on your screen on your school website so that parents can go back and review it if they want some more, if they want to review that information. Folder number 7 is staff professional development to support parent engagement. Right, this is a requirement, and it's reflected in your parent-family engagement plan. This comes from a section from there. It's a requirement because each school shall educate teachers, specialized instructional support personnel, other staff with the assistance of parents in the value and utility of contribution of parents and how to reach out to, communicate with, and work with parents as equal partners, implement and coordinate parent programs, and build ties between parents and the schools. Within your parent and family engagement plan, that section, you had a section there where you provided information on the staff development that you were going to do this coming year with your staff. So in your audit box, you need evidence the staff development was included in the parent and family engagement plan was provided. So whatever you said you were going to do, you just need to document that it was actually done. And that documentation, would be copies of agendas of your pre-planning meeting or whatever you said you were going to do. Just be sure that you document it with a sign-in sheet and an agenda, and it goes into your audit box in folder 7. If you do anything beyond that what you said you were going to do in the plan, that evidence of other staff development opportunities to build the capacity of working with parents as equal partners in the academic achievement of students, that also needs to go there. So I can think of things like you might be doing something with guidance, or you might do PLCs in certain content areas or grade levels where you talk about parent engagement. MTSS, if you're given any of your training of in other areas like MTSS, on how to communicate with parents and work with parents. Those types of things would be another thing to add to this folder. Folder 8, activities to build parent capacity to support their child. This kind of goes hand in hand with the staff build, with your staff capacity, building staff capacity. We're required, as a school receiving funds under this part, we shall provide assistance to parents as appropriate in understanding such topics as the challenging state academic standards, state and local academic assessments, the requirement of Title I, and how to monitor a child's progress and work with educators to improve the achievement of their children. This is also a section that's in the Parent-Family Engagement Plan, so you've already filled out some of this because you've said what you're planning to do in the coming year. But you also have to should provide materials and training to help parents work with their children to improve their child's achievement, such as literacy training and using technology, including education about the harms of copyright piracy. And that little blurb right there is actually written into law that we have to cover copyright piracy as appropriate to foster parental involvement. So in this section of your Parent-Family Engagement Plan, where you said that you were going to build the parent capacity, then those things that you said you were going to do can be documented in this folder. These would be kind of like a little example. Like in September, if you did a Words Their Way workshop or something to help parents understand what homework looks like. These are some good things. Reading comprehension, math strategies, anything in there that you said you were going to do that will help parents help their children at home. That's what would go here. And so evidence that parents are provided with materials and training to work with children. Say you're going to do a reading involvement. If you send book homes, and like I know a lot of us do bingo for books, and that's a good thing to do with parents, but how did you support parents in helping their child with reading? If you just had to played a game and gave them a book, that's not really the thing. It has to be academic, but if you gave them books, that would be a material that you would give them, or handouts or websites, or STEM night, any materials that you use in STEM nights, those types of things would be sure that you're documenting those two things. But we also have to show evidence that we're giving parents the opportunity of flexible meeting time. So invitation, reminders, agenda, sign-in sheets, and minutes show activities are offered at various times in consideration of the parent-family schedules. So you try to shake things up a little bit. It's not, if you just have everything at 5 o'clock after school, many parents can't attend. So please take that in consideration when you're designing activities to help parents work with their children. And the parent activity must have an academic focus to satisfy Title I requirements. I'm going to refer back to Bingo to Books. Auditors questioned that heavily because we didn't really document well the tie-in between that activity and how it supported parents to help their children. So it's a wonderful activity, and we want to continue with that, but you really need that your agenda and shows that it had an academic focus. All right, last folder. This folder 9 is the school inventory spreadsheet. The LEA shall provide evidence to demonstrate that the LEA has policies in place in accordance with federal and state laws and maintains appropriate control over all property purchased with federal funds at the LEA and school level. The Florida Department of Education reserves the right to request LEA or school level documentation at any time. You have a person designated at your school site that is the keeper of your inventory spreadsheet, and we have protocols in place and a wonderful staff member to support that. And now this is what a copy of the spreadsheet looks like. Yours will be filled in. And Dana Wilkinson is our inventory control manager, and she will speak to you on the inventory process at your school.
Hi, my name is Dana Wilkinson. I am the Inventory Control Manager for Federal Programs. I have been with Federal Programs for a year. I inventory and track the items that we purchase with federal funding here in our Federal Programs office. Okay, so we have a blank state spreadsheet that we have created. Up here in the top, you will put your school year, your school name, and at each school there should be a contact of an inventory person or someone that keeps track of your inventory that you order at your location. So you would actually have their name typed out here and their signature here. In the first column, you have FPID. That is not always a federal programs ID. That can be an asset tag ID. If there's any kind of ID tag on that device or on that property, it will need to be entered here. A description of the item will be, it doesn't have to be really long. It can be brief, just a brief description of whatever the item may be or the device may be. The next column here is physical address. That'll be the address of your school. And also in the next column here, it asks for the building room number where the item can be located. The next column is the name of the person that it is assigned to and that has the responsibility of keeping up with that item. In the next column, you have a name, make, or manufacturer item of the item. You do not always have this information. If you cannot find it on your invoice or on your PO and you do not have it, please just mark it NA. You have the manufacturer number or the model number here. Then you have the manufacturer or model year here. Moving on to the serial number. The serial number is very important. If you have a device that doesn't have a serial number on it, there should be one somewhere on it, and you can locate it usually on the back of your computer. In the next column, you have dates, the date the item was purchased. You can use the PO date that that item was entered. Then you have the cost of that item. And then you have your PO number would go here where the method of the acquisition and the voucher. You would put your PO number here. Then you have the condition of the item of the last time that you physically inventoried that. If it's new, you can just put good. And then of course you will, evaluate that particular item and then update the sheet. If disposition of information, if applicable is next. If you are disposing of that item, that's where you would put that information at. The next column is name of entity that holds the title. That would be like a Title I at your school. Then you have percentage of federal participation. Usually it's 100% of that grant pays for that, but sometimes that is not the case. If there are questions about this, you can also contact me and ask me about this. And then in the next column, you have source of funding, including, that is misspelled, the FAIN number. Your FAIN number is your project number, and you may not have that. The last column is the value of the item if we were disposing of the item, would go here. The very last column over here that you cannot see, that you can now, is the class code. That you leave blank. And that is the spreadsheet that we have in place. And it is very important that each school keep track of the inventory that you purchase with any title funds. Please make sure your records are kept up to date and locations are correct. When an auditor comes to your school, they will be asking for this sheet, and they will also want to physically see where the item is located. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me here at Federal Programs, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can.
Hello, my name is Terry Jones, and I'm the RAND Compliance Facilitator in the Putnam County Federal Programs Office. I've been with the Putnam County School District for 2 years. I have a couple of different responsibilities in federal programs. First, I am part of the Migrant Education Program team. I maintain the migrant student records and help with identifying migrant students around Putnam County. My primary role here is the monitoring of our federal and state grant budgets. I ensure that all costs charged to project awards are RAND compliant, meaning they are reasonable, allowable, allocable, and necessary. I am here to support and assist other departments and all of our schools as they spend grant dollars. Now that Dana has discussed our inventory system, let's go over the money that pays for the inventory. This is Terry Jones. I am the RAND Compliance Facilitator in the Federal Programs Office. I'm going to discuss Title I budgets. My goal is that by the end of this presentation, the idea of budget monitoring is not scary or overly complicated. Budget monitoring is very important, and we want every school to get the most out of the funds that are available. The budget worksheets for each school are available on the drive. All of the principals should have access, but if anyone needs the link, please let us know. Here's a quick overview of the worksheet. The initial allocation and the parent involvement allocation for each individual school is listed in row 1. The data in columns A through E are sent to finance and used as your initial budget in Skyward. You can modify this worksheet as needed to make this a useful tool, but please do not delete the information in the 4 columns to the right. A list of names of Title I teachers and aides need to be included on this worksheet because the Federal Programs Office does keep a log of employees that are paid out of Title I. As you read down the descriptions in column C, please note the ones that are listed in blue: Remedy, Xerox, and summer hours for teachers. These are 3 examples that we're going to go over in more detail in just a moment. Columns A, B, C, D, and E, we've already discussed, and these figures should have already gone to finance. Columns F, G, and H were inserted by me to show how I would personalize the worksheet to make it a useful tool for me. At the top, I've added the date. Every time the worksheet is updated with new Skyward balances, I would enter the current date. Since this is a shared file, it shows other viewers how current the balances are. Column F is where I would enter the amount spent per line according to Skyward. Column G is the important stuff. This is where I enter amounts that I will spend in the future, such as teacher and aide salaries and benefits through June 30th, anticipated summer hours, recurring expenses such as Xerox or Remedy. If I didn't have this information available, I could make the mistake of thinking I have another $70,145.62 in this example, when it really is not available. Column H shows the ending balance per line. In this example, I know that I have budgeted in teaching supplies $23,654.38. Column F shows that I've spent $1,000 so far. So I have $22,654.38 as you see in column H. And if you follow down to cell H19, this shows the overall balance that's remaining for this budget. And in this example, there's $26,654.38 available. Since teacher salaries, Remedy, Xerox, and summer hours have been subtracted from our balance because we know that we are going to spend those funds. Along with the budget worksheet that's on the drive, it's also very important to run Skyward expenditure detail reports at least every 2 weeks. This slide shows the PDF version, which can be very complicated when you're first looking at it, but let's see if I can simplify it. The first red arrow near the top left shows the column headings. We have the object number, object description, the budget amount, which would be the beginning balance, fiscal year to date amount expenditures, amount committed, amount encumbered, and amount available. And if you go down to the row with the second arrow, this is an example of one object, object 121, which is a teacher aid. We know that that line had a beginning budget of $15,722. Year to date spent is $13,446.03. There are no open POs for this, so it has a remaining balance of $2,275.97. The third arrow just shows another object in this grant, and this is object 210 retirement, beginning balance $1,331.54, and then reading across to the right, fiscal year amount spent $1,138.86, and the remaining amount available is $192.68. Whenever a PDF version of this report is run, it's always best to go ahead and scroll to the bottom just to get a quick snapshot of exactly how much is left overall. And in this case, I've embedded the table in the bottom. It shows that this grant began with $21,576.14. Overall, $18,570.04 has been spent, and $3,006.10 is still left available to spend. The Skyward Expenditure Report is also available in an Excel version. This is my preference because the data can be copied and pasted, columns can be formatted, and the data is much easier to read. As you can see in row 3, object 121, teacher aid, just like we saw in the previous screen in the PDF, the budget was $15,722, $13,446.03 has been spent, remaining balance $2,275.97. And then again, the overall budget across the bottom is exactly what we saw on the previous screen. This is just another version of the same data. The reason that I have shown the budget sheet on the drive as well as the Skyward reports is because both are needed to accurately monitor your Title I budget. We're asking school principals to assign this monitoring to either the school secretary or the bookkeeper, and we recommend accessing the Skyward Expenditure Detail Report at least every 2 weeks. This gives you real-time spending. It helps with tracking open POs, and it gives you the opportunity to check for accuracy. After reviewing the Skyward Expenditure Detail Report, we recommend that you update your budget sheet on the drive with those Skyward balances. Skyward alone does not show future anticipated spending, and it is very important to monitor your ending balance to prevent overspending. Okay, now this is where the budget tracking is directly connected to other ways we monitor and manage Title I. When your school receives a delivery, it's very important to check in all the items and confirm the quantities and make sure that they match the paperwork. Maintain all paperwork. That's the packing slips, invoices, and a copy of the PO. Hold on to all that paperwork until all of the items on the PO have been received. Then make a copy of the paperwork for your records and send the originals to federal programs. Do not send any Title I payables directly to finance. Every school's Title I budget is monitored by federal programs. I personally reconcile every school's budget to Skyward every week. And this information that you send through us helps me to keep accurate balances as well. Inventory is maintained by federal programs, and the other reason for sending the paperwork through us is compliance with Department of Education. Federal programs is actively monitoring Title I every day. Every school's Title I budget is monitored. Donna reviews and approves all requisitions and transfers in Skyward. I reconcile every school's budget to Skyward every week. Inventory is maintained by Dana, and audit boxes are continuously monitored by Wanda. Here are just a few other important things I need to mention. Title I budgets cannot go in the red. Overspending is not allowed ever. Spend early. 2021 Title I funds must be used for the benefit of 2021 students. It's difficult to justify POs entered on June 1st when the last day for students was May 29th. Request summer hours as early as possible. And here's the process. The school principal sends a letter to Dr. Coleman requesting summer hours in writing. A board letter is sent by federal programs for approval. At this point, funds must be encumbered to prevent overspending. Like all other spending, timesheets must be sent to federal programs for processing, just like any other invoice. And lastly, we're here to help. I'm available for individual help with setting up the budget worksheet or reading a Skyward report or answering any questions throughout the year about open POs or available balances. We are all just a phone call away for any Title I question.
Hello, I'm here today to share with you information about our homeless education program. This is Courtney Carter, homeless coordinator for Putnam County School District. Welcome. Right now, we are in the process of preparing for this coming year. We always do a mail out in June. We are getting those back slowly but surely. I've been visiting with data clerks who have received their folders with new residency questionnaires and posters. We also have a PowerPoint that can be used with your staff and additional brochures and posters. If you will just touch base with me, I'm happy to provide those to you. And basically, I need you to complete the compliance forms that are in the Google Drive and put them in your audit box. If you have any questions, here is my information.
Hi, I'm Brad Skelton. I work out of the Federal Programs Office. I am the school district's liaison for foster care students. I participate in conference phone calls to discuss where these kids are going to be placed and who's coming in and out of the county, and anything that's in the best interest of the student. We decide between the ESSA director for our district and other caseworkers. I also sit on the Department of Juvenile Justice Board as a representative for the school board district to discuss programs and things with students that we need to have in our schools. I also sit on the truancy team, and I go to truancy meetings at the courthouse, and we talk about the kids that are being truant and what we can do to help them out. I also sit with the reentry team for students that are in long-term lockup programs coming back to our district from those programs, and we determine the best interest for the student, whether it's to come back to their school of origin and or to go to adult ed. or if they're 17, 18 with their adult ed once they've come out of a program, then we try to figure out what jobs they need to be doing and set them up with Job Corps and other programs to help them be successful. I also work with the Road Heavers Boys Ranch and help the boys out there at the ranch with any of their academic needs that they need to be successful. If you need me, I'm at the Federal Programs Office at 329-0543, but I will also hope to see you during the school year to discuss and give you the list of students that are foster care kids at your school. Hope to see you this year.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley McCool and very excited to be a part of the 21st Century After School program this year. Along with Justin Campbell and Shondell Goddard, we'll be supporting the 11 schools who also had programs last year. We were unable to write for new grants this year due to the uncertain enrollment from COVID-19. So those grants will be on hold until the 21-22 school year, where we will write for those schools who were interested at that time. So you'll see on the flyer here that the program is still 2.5 hours each day, Monday through Thursday, for those 11 schools. The space is limited to students who are enrolled at those 11 schools only. It will begin Monday, August 31st. After our meeting today, the applications will go live from the putnamschools.org website. They will be managed online only through a Google form that I will house and give the information to each site coordinator at each site as we get the applications in. So I will be supporting those site coordinators in getting the students loaded into Easy Reports and managing our enrollment. We will hire teachers based on the number of students who are enrolled, and I will be in close contact with you over the next few weeks with that information. We'll be following all the safety protocols that are in place for your day program, and as we get closer to the start of school, we'll be talking with you all with the logistics of that information. So just wanted to give you a heads up that we are on go for 21st Century. We appreciate all of your support, and as always, I'm here if you have any questions. You can reach out to myself or to Justin or to Shondell. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Priscilla with the Migrant Education Program.
Hi, my name is Cherie Clayton. I'm our English Language Learner Support Leader.
We'd love to share a PowerPoint about our programs following this introduction.
Hello, welcome to Migrant 101. My name is Priscilla Perry, and I am the Program Specialist for the Migrant Education Program here in Putnam County. The Migrant Education Program has existed for 55 years. How it has served our students throughout those years has evolved. The goal of this program is to level the playing ground for children who have frequent schooling disruptions due to their parents' need to follow the harvesting schedule. Many times, these children also struggle due to a language barrier. Here in Putnam County, we have seen more students arriving with zero English language skills. This can be a huge challenge for teachers who are still responsible for teaching content. This program's goal is to help fill that learning gap by providing supplemental assistance. Here are some of the ways that the Migrant Education funds are being used to help students close the learning gap. Since the ELL and the migrant populations almost always overlap, these two programs have combined resources to provide the Imagine Learning Language and Literacy program. You can learn more about this program by viewing the Imagine Learning Language Literacy PowerPoint during the ELL presentation. Currently, the Title I Part C budget allows for 3 paraprofessionals. These positions allow us to provide small group tutoring during the school day. Other ways we support the migrant families is through literacy and graduation workshops held for the families. Supplemental supplies and learning tools are also available for these families. Finally, the Migrant Program Specialist collaborates with many community partners and can assist with referrals to other programs that offer assistance with various needs. These are the qualifiers that determine if a family qualifies for this program. In a nutshell, parents or guardians must work in the agriculture or the fishing industries. They also have to be moving for economic need, and they have to have moved within our county within the last 3 years to be considered migrant. Our current registration package includes an occupational survey. This is a sample of our occupational survey. It should be included in your registration packages. After enrollment, please ensure that a copy of this form is forwarded to federal programs if any of these items in the pictures are selected, and if number 2 is marked as yes. Once we identify these students, the Putnam MEP program determines what service the student needs. Priority for services is assigned to students who are most at risk. Here are some additional details about Title I Part C migrant education. These funds must be supplemental and cannot be used to supplant. Migrant services may be provided for a total of 3 consecutive years. If the family has not moved out of our district within a 3-year period, they are no longer considered migrant. Once the student's eligibility ends, the continuation of services option can be used to serve these students till the end of the current term. Finally, this is the formula that is used to determine how much federal money is allocated to our program. So, the more students we identify, the more money we can count on. I'm looking forward to working with all of you during this coming year. Our district is working hard to increase the graduation rate and also to close the learning gaps.
So what is Imagine Learning? Imagine Learning Language and Literacy is a digital program that we use, and it offers literacy, oral language, as well as grammar to support our students. Like I said, we utilize this program to assist with our English language learners as well as our migrant students. 5 key features of Imagine Learning is it's adaptive, it's supportive, it's engaging, it's effective, and last but not least, it is rewarding. Imagine Learning is adaptive with our assessment and instruction because it gives the students a placement test, and then the students are placed on their individual learning path as they work through the curriculum that is in the instruction piece. So, the individual learning path, as the students are on that path, is continually adapting as the students' needs change. So the curriculum is always tailored to fit our students' individual needs. When we look at the assessment, our students are also giving a benchmark assessment that we give at the beginning, middle, and end of the year. This assessment is by the company Galileo, and this is also the company that makes our FSA test. So the questions are very similar. And as you can see on the screen, this is a sample report of just one of the reports that you can get from the student's benchmark assessment. So as you can see to the left, it has all of these standards, and then it gives you the status based off of the student's score, and then the last column gives you the percentage correct. So you can see that if they're developing, it's 50%, emerging is 0, and mastery starts at 70 all the way up to 100%. Again, this is just one report that we can look at through the benchmark assessment results. like I stated, Imagine Learning is supportive for our students. It has over 15 different languages that it can support. It provides the audio support to our students in their native language or their first language, and then it gradually fades away as the students feel more comfortable with the English language learning. So you can see it offers French, Spanish, Russian, Korean, just to name a few. The number one language support that we use, of course, is for our Spanish speaking students, because that is the predominantly language that is spoken by both our migrant and our ELL students. Imagine Learning is engaging as well as effective. When we look at the engaging piece, the students love being on the program because of the characters and the visual cues that are provided to the students. It's effective because as a district, we set our minutes per week at 60 to 90 minutes a week to see the best possible growth for our students. And in addition to that, we also have offline resources in the teacher resource and intervention toolbox, as well as in the action areas to offer supplement instruction to our students. And last but not least, Imagine Learning is rewarding. For our younger students, you can offer booster bits when they complete activities. As well, the teacher can also reward the students with a certificate of achievement that shows how many activities the students have completed, how many books they've read, as well as vocabulary words that the students have learned. So like I said, Imagine Learning is very rewarding. In 2019-2020 school year, at the end of that school year, our program gains, and this is just looking at the data here at the end of that year. If you look at the bottom, we had a 10% decrease in the amount of students that were 2 years below grade level. So you can see we started out at 31%, and by the end of the year, we were down to 21%. When we look at the students in the yellow that was working 1 grade level below, that was a 7% decrease. So we went from 33% to 26%. And then when we look at the percentage of students working on level, we had a 10% decrease. So we went from 22 to 32%. And then when we look at the students working above grade level, that was a 7-point increase. Again, that was at the end of 2019-2020 school year. Again, due to COVID, we only have our middle of the year data when we look at it for this year. So this was looking at our data from February 2021. So right halfway through the year, you can see that we had a 2% for the students working below grade level, 2 years below grade level. It was a 1% decrease. When we look at the yellow for students working 1 year below grade level, that was 5% decrease, so from 36 to 31%. And then when we look at the percentage of students working on level, that increased by 5%. So we went from 18 to 23%. And we didn't see any change in the above level. Again, this was in February, so we didn't get a chance to get that end of the year data. But as you can see, looking at the end of last year and middle of the road for this past school year, you can see that the percentages have increased for the students working on level and above level, and then the students that were working 2 years or 1 year below grade level did increase. So, and that's with the students being on the program 60 to 90 minutes a week. I also did want to point out, like I said, the program is rewarding when it comes to looking at the data, but also for Middleton Birney and Brownie Pierce Elementary, Imagine Learning did a competition for the whole state of Florida, where it was called the Imagine Learning Language and Literacy Cup. And basically the competition involved schools with making sure the students got their minutes each week and the percentage of lessons that those students passed. And like I said, out of the entire state of Florida, Middleton Bernie won first place and Brownie Pierce came in third place. So you can see on the left the picture of the lead team from at the end of last year getting that Amazon check there. So you can see that Middleton Bernie and Brownie Pierce, they really have been implementing the program with fidelity, and it's been paying off. So again, I look forward to this upcoming school year to partner with any other schools in our Putnam County School District that would also be interested in using Imagine Learning to support your English language learners or your migrant students. So please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any students that you would like to put on the program, because we have purchased additional licenses so that we can spread the usage across our district for students being on the Imagine Learning Language and Literacy program. So thank you for allowing me to use a little bit of your time to tell you about the program. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pamela Brown. Many of you already know who I am because I've been with the district for over 20 years, starting as an ESC teacher and working my way up to an administrator. I've had many other positions in between. I'm currently the district graduation coordinator and the JFG site supervisor for the high school programs.
Hi, and I'm Rebecca Moats. Most of you know me as Becky Moats. I've been a counselor for the past 17 years at Palaca High School, but I've actually been in the district for 26 years, from elementary all the way to high school. Over the last 2 years, I have worked directly with Palaca High School's JFG and JAG program, and I am currently one of our graduation coaches and the site supervisor for the middle school's JFG and JAG programs.
Hello, in a nutshell, I would just like to share with you how we support the endeavors focused on the goals in our graduation initiative and programs centered around student success. Our graduation initiative goals are: goal number 1, we developed an early warning system to identify, support, and monitor students who are off track. This includes using our early warning indicators to determine if a student is off track. We use a platform called Bright Bites to collect this data information. Goal number 2, we want to increase principal and school ownership of student success. This is helping schools with district support for school-based problem solving and implementation of interventions. Goal number 3, we would like to enhance college and career readiness for all students by increasing their opportunities and academic pathways towards graduation. We provide this by allowing students to participate in our different programs and taking them on college tours and providing guest speakers who will share their career opportunities with them. Goal number 4, provide schools with accurate, timely, and efficient access to early warning system indicators. This is done by using our Bright Bites platform. Goal number 5, improve district monitoring of early warning indicators, preventative measures, intervention strategies, and graduation rates. Our actions: we provide professional development to staff on identifying at-risk students with our EWS and data mining. We assist your MTSS team with the development of intervention strategies and connection with needed resources. We assist with the utilization of communication tools such as Remind, parent night events, and social media announcements. We coordinate the development of graduation plans and post-secondary transition plans for our students. We connect with business and community leaders to build partnerships with our schools. And we also connect staff with progress monitoring tools and tracking documents for student use. Everything we do is to support your students in reaching their maximum potential. Please let us know how we can help your school.
So some of you are probably wondering, how does JFG and JAG fit into our graduation initiatives and the federal programs offices? Well, to start off with, JFG and JAG stands for Jobs for Florida's Graduates and Jobs for America's Graduates. The reason that these programs fit so perfectly with our school board's graduation initiative is because it hits all of the goals that we have built into our graduation initiative. We refer to this program as giving our students the JAG advantage. It has the employer engagement piece, the trauma-informed care piece, and the project-based learning teaches all the skills and competencies needed in today's job market. The reason this program is such a big deal, if you didn't know, it's because this program provides very specific and targeted skills to students that typically have barriers in place to be productive beyond high school. And many of the students are even at risk to graduate high school. So we produce these amazing results by teaching hard and soft skills. We provide intervention services to remove barriers in the way to student success. Each of the treasure hunters have to develop, it's called an individual development plan that addresses the specific needs for each individual student in the JFG program. We also provide trauma-informed care. We connect them to mentors. They get exposure to community leaders, and many of them get mentored by those leaders. We connect them to employment opportunities and job shadowing events. They go through pretty serious problem-solving initiatives in the PBLs. Those are the project-based learning activities that drive the instruction of the class. There's graduation planning, progress monitoring services built into the program, and the most important piece in my opinion is their post-secondary pathway planning. Everything in this program is real. Every activity that the students do will benefit them in real life. When all of these components work together, they do produce amazing results. We are the largest organization with the most governors on our board of directors, and that is because these governors know the results that this program produces. Just at Palaca High School alone, we have had 100% graduation rate with our most at-risk students, 100% barrier removal, which is a huge big deal. We were the top award-winning school in all of the United States with barrier removal. We have 100% post-secondary pathway planning, which is a big deal because the whole reason we're in this business is to produce successful adults, and we have 100% success rate with that. We also have 100% funding for college. Now, that does not mean that students who go to college have 100% of the money paid for, but all of the students that decide they do want to pursue a college program have FAFSAs completed, they have a Pell Grant, and we do scholarship packages, which many of them have gotten. But they do have a way for college to be paid for should that be their plan. We have 94% positive outcome results on post-graduation students. The reason that is huge is because our program tracks students beyond graduation. So that is not our end goal. Our end goal is to produce successful adults, and we are 94% successful at that with their college enrollment and college success, VOTEC schools, apprenticeship programs, military, and employment. That is why JAG and JFG is a big deal and why we can produce amazing results in this program. We did provide this handout. It's our graduation initiative support services, and that will be provided in a resource folder that's accessible to you if you need to later go back and look at some things your school can do to support the graduation initiative. And this is just a slide I wanted you guys to see, because what we do is build in our students grit. And what does that mean? Grit is their perseverance. They do not give up. They overcome obstacles. They have that growth mindset, always wanting to bump up their success. They're resilient. We talk about making mistakes, but learning from them. Mental toughness. Goal setting is huge. Doing self-reflections for improvement and the effort they put into everything that they do. I absolutely believe in this program and know that if we support it, our students will be the future leaders in Putnam County. Thank you.
Putnam County School District Jobs for Florida Graduates programs. In the high schools, we have programs at Crescent City High, Interlochen High, Palatka High, and QI Roberts Junior Senior High. And here listed are our treasure hunters: Julie Glisson at Crescent City, Dustin Whitlock at Interlochen, Lori McCarthy at Palatka High, and we have a second program at Palatka High, which is currently vacant, and Michelle Knowles at QI Roberts Junior Senior High. We also have JFG programs in our middle schools: Jenkins Middle School, Miller Middle School, and Price Middle School. Our treasure hunters are Michelle Davis Parnell at Jenkins, Timothy O. Raw at Miller Middle, and Gus Devereaux at Price Middle. Do you have the JAG swag? Thank you.
I'm Casey Griffiths. I'm the Acceleration Cambridge Specialist for the school district. I've worked for Putnam County Schools for over 10 years. I support the Cambridge Acceleration Program throughout the school district, as well as coordinate communication for the Acceleration Program. All applications, testing, and acceptance letters are done through federal programs.
Okay, I'm going to share with you a step-by-step process from application to acceptance. Step 1, the parents and students complete the application and turn it into federal programs. Step 2, the applications are entered in an Excel spreadsheet along with data points for all the district students. Those data points include assessments, grades, behavior, attendance, and COGAT scores. Step 3, the District Acceleration Committee reviews the application and the data and then converses with the school representatives. Step 4, federal programs mails letters to each student with their appropriate status after reviewing the committee recommendation.
Hello, my name is Michael Helms. I am the STEM coordinator for Putnam County School District. We're just really excited to promote STEM in the county, and my heart is to just come alongside the principals and the APs and your schools and your teachers to be able to promote STEM as best as we can in the county.
This is a great resource I'm going to share on the Google Drive. It gives a big picture and some details of what the STEM program offers. The ultimate goal is to get kids into the career pathways, and there's some examples. At the very top, so there's an elementary, there's middle school, and then there's high school, all giving examples of what the STEM program offers. The STEM van acts as a mobile STEM lab to be able to offer these resources to the classroom, bringing the technology, bringing the STEM experience to the classroom. At the very bottom, the STEM program is to increase awareness through exposure, provide PD and resources, growing the STEM networks, provide support and funding, add cyber academies, include new technology, and working alongside teachers to get more teachers that are certified in computer science.
Let's go. Here's a story on federal programs, taking care of all our students' needs, working hard to secure the funding, skills we're going to please. We have programs to encompass the school board's mission to achieve. So let's work all together. We look forward to succeed.